students, so we are just going to continue with the biodiversity and conservation part of the chapter. In that we are discussing patterns of biodiversity. So in the last class we discussed about what? Patterns of biodiversity. Today we are going to see the second part. Okay, the first, in the patterns of biodiversity, what was the first part? The first part was latitudinal gradient, isn't it? So in the tropics you can find more species compared to temperate. Why? The reason we set few hypotheses, isn't it? Now we are moving on to the next part of the chapter, and in that we are going to discuss about species area relationship. So today's topic is second part of patterns of biodiversity. Okay, so 2 points you have to write. One is latitudinal gradient and the second one is species area relationship. So moving on to the species area relationship. Okay, so in this species area relationship was put forth, was given by a German naturalist as well as a geographer. His name is Alexander von Humboldt. What is his name? His name is Alexander von Humboldt. He is the one who has given this species area relationship. Okay, so according to him, what is how does the biodiversity of the species varies with the region? Okay, so listen, what he is saying is that within a region, okay, species richness increased with increased explored area. So for example, this was the area. Okay, I am considering this was the area. So here some species were there. Okay, now I am increasing the area from this much. I am increasing it to higher, like this. I am increasing this much. Okay, so now the area is this much. In this much area, what happened is that the number of species increased. To better understand, I can show you how. You see, so first case, this was the area. Okay, now here maybe there were 5 species. Okay, he increased the area. Increased means what? He has increased to this much. So when he increased this area to some extent, what happened? The species diversity became more. It became 9. Again, when he is increasing the area, the species diversity became more. What was the species diversity now? It became around 12. So with increase in the area, the number of species will also goes on increasing. New species are coming in the next areas if you are going on increasing the areas. But there is a limit for the same. Now this much 12 is there. Okay, I have increased to this much. Again I am increasing to some extent, like this I have increased. But I couldn't find any new species there. Which means that only to a limit you can find the new species are increasing. But after that you can find the same species which were already present is repeated. You cannot find any new species. That was his conclusion. He was saying that within a region, if you are seeing the species richness, what happened is that, like India, if you are just going on exploring, within small area you are having small species. When you increase the area, new species were again increased, new species came. But as you went on increasing to some extent, new species were not found. These were the old species which were already found. So there is a limit for increase in the species richness. Okay, so only to a certain level only you can find the increases taking place. Thereafter the species diversity will not be there. Already what is there only will be present. Different types you cannot find. Okay, new species you cannot find. So it's clear, I hope so. Within a region, species richness increased with increased explored area, but only up to a limit. Okay, so only up to a limit it went on increasing. Thereafter, even if you increase the area, the new species are not found. Okay, now he represented it in the form of a graph. Okay, so when he is representing it in the form of a graph, you can find that x-axis is area and on the y-axis it is what? Species richness. Okay, you don't get any problems from here anyhow, but you should know the graph. Okay, so one is area and another one is what? The species richness. The y is the species richness. Okay, so what he was saying, when you are going on increasing the area, the species goes on increasing, but up to a limit. Thereafter you cannot find any increases taking place. Even if you increase the area, the species will be remaining stationary. There will not be any increase. Okay, so this type of curve, what I am getting, this nature of this curve we call it as the rectangular hyperbola. So what he called this was a curve which was representing a figure called as what? Rectangular hyperbola. Okay. So with the increasing area, species richness increase. So the species richness is going on increasing, but up to a limit. Thereafter you can find there is no increase in the species richness. So the curve, what I am getting, the curve we call it as what? The rectangular hyperbola. But the same thing if we are going to represent in a logarithmic scale. Okay. In that case you get a straight line. What do you get? A straight slanting line, a linear line you will be getting. Okay. So this is the log scale you are getting it like this. And this was represented with the help of an equation. Okay. So what was the equation? Equation is log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Okay. So what is the equation for the species area relationship curve? It is log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Okay. Now when you are seeing what is all these letters representing, we have to find it out, right? Now this is logarithmic scale. When you are representing it in the form of a curve like rectangular hyperbola, what will be the equation? It will be S is equal to CA to the power Z. Okay. So S is equal to CA to the power Z can be represented. In the logarithmic scale, we are representing at log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Okay. Now, what is S here? So, all these, what are the, each and every letter is signifying, is given. Okay. So, that we have to find out. S is what? S is species richness. Okay. So, different types of species. That is S. S is represented by, means for what? It is represented, the S is used for representing species richness. What is A? A is area. Okay, how much area it is. What is Z? Z is slope of the line. Okay, slope of the line. How steep it is, how bent it is. Slope of the line. And what is C? C is the y-intercept. Okay, the curve where at what point it is intersecting with y. Okay, so the y-intercept is what? It is C. So S is species richness, A is area, Z is slope of the line, and C is what? It is y-intercept. Now Z value, when you see, it is somewhat constant. Okay, he was telling that for all the taxons, any taxon, whether it is an angiosperm or a gymnosperm or birds or amphibians, whatever you take, the Z value usually remains a constant and the value will be most probably equivalent to 0.1 to 0.2. That is the value. Okay. But if you take it for a very big area like a continent and all, okay, so some small area countries that are not, the Z value will be what? It will be only 0.1 to 0.2. But in case if you are taking a large geographical area like that of a continent, in that case the value of the Z will be 0.6 to 1.2. What will be its value? 0.6 to 1.2. And for frugivorous birds and mammals, who is this frugivorous birds and mammals? These are fruit-eating birds and mammals. When you are seeing the Z value for frugivorous birds and mammals, the value of Z is 1.15. What is the value of Z? It is 1.15. So these are some of the one-word questions which can be asked. What is Z representing? Z is representing slope of the line. When it will be steeper, in case if you are finding the species richness goes on increasing, then you will be getting a much steeper line. Okay. And the Z value, when you are saying how much it is 0.1 to 0.2. In case of large areas like continent, what is the value of the Z? It is 0.6 to 1.2. And in case of frugivorous birds and mammals, what will be the Z value? It will be 1.15. Okay. So these are the things which you need to know regarding this species area relationship. I repeat, what is species area relationship? Who has put forth? It was put forth by German naturalist and geographer. What is his name? Alexander von Humboldt. Okay. What did he say? Within a region, species diversity increased with increased explore area, but up to a limit. So when he plotted a graph, what sort of figure he got? He got a rectangular hyperbola. The same thing if you are representing in the log scale, it will be a straight line, linear line. Okay. Somewhat slanting in nature, and this if the species is small, it becomes much steeper. Okay. So that is the logarithmic representation, and we can represent it with the help of an equation. What is the equation? S is equal to CA to the power Z, or we can also represent it as log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Okay. And in which S is species richness. A is area, Z is slope of the line, and C is what? Y, intercept. And what is the Z? Slope of the line is a constant value. It usually remains 0.1 to 0.2, but in case of large area, it is 0.6 to 1.2, and in case of frugivorous birds and mammals, it is 1.15. Okay, hope it is clear. Next, we will be moving on to the next part of the chapter. The next topic is importance of species diversity to the ecosystem. Okay, so what they are saying about the diversity of species. Many different types of species should be present for the proper functioning of the ecosystem. So some naturalist geographer has put some information regarding the same, shared some information regarding the same, and mostly it was hypothesis. Hypothesis means they are thinking that yes, it can be the reason. Okay. Now when you are saying this importance of species diversity to the ecosystem, David Tillman has said that more species tend to be more stable than those with less species. So, an ecosystem with more species are more stable than the ecosystem with less species. Okay. Like for example, imagine this is the ecosystem. Okay. Here only 2 species are present. How many species are present? 2. Okay. Then it is not that stable. If it is having 10 species instead of 2, then that ecosystem is more stable. Then that area, that region is more stable. Why it is so? Because these 2 species, because of some whatever drought, famine or flood, water, sometimes they cannot survive. So both the species will be lost. If it is 10 species there, somehow some can survive and functioning of the ecosystem will be taking place properly. So he said that a region or a ecosystem which is having more species is more stable compared to an ecosystem or a community which is having what? A less species. Okay. So that was his observation. Now, attributes or characteristics of a stable community. So a community is said to be stable if it is having some characteristics or if it is having some attributes. So what are the attributes? First attribute is that it should not show much variation in productivity from year to year. Like for example, this is a community. Okay, so just imagine this space is a community, and here I am cultivating some plants. Okay, so these plants, when you are seeing this here, has given me 100 kgs of yield. Rice plant means I am cultivating rice. It has given 100 kg. How much it has given? 100 kg. Next year, it is giving only 10 kg or 20 kg. Whether it is stable? No. The productivity, when you are seeing, it should remain most probably constant. Constant means that if it is moving, means less here and there, like instead of 100 it is 98, 97 kgs or even 90 kgs, then also it's fine. Okay. But the productivity, all of a sudden there should not be any fluctuation, wide fluctuation. Okay. So, should not show much variation. It should not show much variation in case of what? Productivity. In that case, year after year, it is producing correctly somewhat similar figures. In that case, it is more stable. Okay. So, that is number 1. Number 2, it should be resistant to occasional natural and man-made disturbances. Resistant to means what? It has to have the capacity to resist the things which are getting into. It can be a man-made thing or it can be a natural. Natural, like flood is coming, the plant should have the resistance to withstand flood. The plant should have the resistance to withstand drought. I am introducing some chemicals into it. The plant should have the capacity or the power to withstand that fertilizers or pesticides. Okay. In that case, that community is more stable. Okay. So, all the species living over there should be having what? Resistant power. In that case, that community will be more stable. If they are not having resistant power, they are prone to everything. The species, when they are exposed to something not natural, in that case, what will happen is that the species will die, isn't it? So, this obviously the species diversity will come down. In that case, that community is not going to be stable. Okay. And next is what? It should be resistant to invasion by alien species. Resistant to invasion by alien species means what? Imagine the Indian varieties are only present. Okay, Indian species are present. Someone from some other place, like for Africa, is coming over here. Okay. Now what will happen after they come from Africa? What is going to happen is that they are going to invade. They are going to come into our area and they are going to occupy our space. In that case, we should be more resistant. Okay, we should be having more power to resist them, so that they are not spreading, increasing their population, thereby decreasing our population. We should be more, having more resistant power. That they see variety of plants or animals or any species, they should have what? Resistant to withstand. Okay, even the alien species, if it is coming and starting to grow, we are competing with them and we are winning over them. In that case, that community is more stable. Okay, so alien is someone from outside getting into a population. Okay, yeah. So first one is what? It should not show much variation in productivity. Okay, productivity, how much they are producing, should be somewhat constant. Second, it should be resistant to all natural and man-made disasters or any disturbances. Okay. Third is what? It should be resistant to alien species. In that case, my community is more stable. Clear? Now moving on to important topic. The topic is Rivet-Popper hypothesis. What is the topic? Rivet-Popper hypothesis. Listen students, it's a very important topic and a very simple one. Okay. So, Stanford ecologist. So, what was his name? Paul Ehrlich is the ecologist, Stanford ecologist. Okay. From a place Stanford. Now this Paul Ehrlich, when you are seeing, he has put forth an hypothesis called as what? Rivet-Popper hypothesis. Now what do you mean by this Rivet-Popper hypothesis? He used an analogy. Analogy means, you know, comparison. Okay. He is going to compare the functioning of an ecosystem is compared to an aeroplane, working of an aeroplane. Okay. So this aeroplane, when you are seeing, ecosystem, you know, ecosystem, all abiotic as well as the biotic component, the whole setup, we call it as what? The ecosystem. So ecosystem is equivalent to aeroplane. He said that an ecosystem is equivalent to aeroplane. So this is an aeroplane and this one is an ecosystem. So this ecosystem as well as the aeroplane is similar. Okay. Now listen very carefully. This aeroplane, if you are seeing, it is made up of many rivers. Rivers means what? Like nut, bolt, screw and all, everything will be present now. So the parts, all small parts, spare parts and all are connected and the aeroplane is made, isn't it? So this things, we call it as what? We call it as rivers. In the same way, the ecosystem when you are seeing, it is made up of species. What they are made up of? Species, different types of species. So aeroplane is equivalent to ecosystem. The rivers when you are seeing is equivalent to species. Okay. So aeroplane, rivers, ecosystem, species. Aeroplane is what? Equivalent to ecosystem and rivers is equivalent to species. Now I am going to aeroplane. Okay. So this aeroplane, if you are seeing, passengers are getting in. One day, one passengers moving one rivet, nut, bolt, something they are removing from the plane. Okay, they are taking home. So what happens in the beginning? No problem. One bolt taken, let it go. Next one, one has taken something else, let it go. Like that, slowly what happened is that in the beginning there was no disturbances. But gradually when many bolts and nuts and all these rivets are taken back, do you think that a plane will be in danger or not? Yes, it will be in danger. Sometime it will take off for landing, it will crash, isn't it? So why? Because the rivers are already removed. When you are removing one, no problem. When you are removing two, no problem. First it seems that there is no problem. But if the rivers are removed in huge amount, what will happen? The whole aeroplane will collapse. The same way, ecosystem also, if you are saying, ecosystem is made up of rivers, which is called as what? It is called as species. If you are removing one species from that ecosystem in the beginning, okay. Second species, third species, food chain is getting disturbed. Okay. Thereafter you can find the whole ecosystem is getting disturbed. The whole ecosystem is collapsed. Okay. That whole thing is getting into barren land, is going to get converted into. So that was the thing what Paul Ehrlich said about Rivet-Popper hypothesis. He considered ecosystem as an aeroplane and the species as the rivers. If you remove one species, it may not affect in the beginning, but if you go on removing later, it will lead to much disaster. Okay, so that is what Revert-Popper hypothesis is stating too. Hope it's clear. Today we discussed about two topics. The first topic was what? The first topic was your species area relationship, and the next topic is importance of species diversity to the ecosystem. Next we are moving on to laws of biodiversity. Yes, the next topic what we are going to discuss is laws of biodiversity. Okay, so colonization of tropical Pacific islands by humans. So humans started colonizing where? The Pacific Islands. So we are occupying most of the places, and because of which you can find in the Pacific Islands more than 2000 species of native birds have become already extinct. And according to IUCN and Red List, red data is containing the name of different endangered. Endangered means what? Who are on the verge of extinction. They will become extinct if it is not taken care. So according to this IUCN and Red List 2004 document, what they are telling is that the extinction of already how many species has been extincted? 784 species in the last 500 years you can find have already have become extinct. Okay, so what and all it is including? It is including, you can find 338. Okay, so 338 vertebrates have become extinct, 359 invertebrates have become extinct, and 87 plants have become extinct in the last 500 years. So the rate is going on increasing year after year. Now moving on to some of the examples of recent extinction. Some species which have extinct in the recent years: dodo, you know, quagga, Africa; thylacine, Australia; steller sea cow, Russia; and 3 subspecies of tiger, Bali, Javan and Caspian, have become what? Extinct. So you can find this is dodo, clear. Thereafter it is quagga, become extinct, thylacine became extinct, Javan tiger. Okay, thereafter you can find Balinese tiger. So these are the some of the animals which have become what? They have become extinct. Clear? And in the last 20 years alone, how many species has disappeared? 27 species have disappeared. Okay, so more than 15,500 species worldwide are facing a threat of extinction. Imagine, 15,500 are facing a threat of extinction. They may become extinct in the near future. Okay, presently 12% of all bird species, 23% of all mammal species, 32% of all mammalian species, 31% of all gymnosperm species in the world are at the threat of extinction. So they are all facing danger. So these numbers you have to roughly keep in mind, because they may ask for one words. In that case you should know. Okay, now we are experiencing 6th extinction. 6th extinction means what? Before humans had appeared, before we evolved. Okay, you can find already in the earth, when you are seeing 5 episodes of mass extinction is over. Mass extinctions means when all of a sudden you can find the species are becoming extinct because of some natural disaster or whatever it is. In particular area they were living, because of some natural disaster or something like that, it led to the extinction of those species. So that is mass. Mass means in huge amount all of a sudden the extinction is taking place. We call it as what? The mass extinction. Okay, so this mass extinction, when you see, it has already 5 episodes are over before humans came. Now after human came, the 6th extinction has started. We have started our 6th extinction, and you know that humans are only the major one who is responsible for the extinction of the species, because we are disturbing the environment, we are disturbing them in such a way that the climatic condition, everything is changing, because of which the extinction rate has become higher. That's what they are saying in the 6th extinction. How it is different from the rest of the episodes? It is different because the current rate of species extinction, when you are seeing, it is 100 to 1000 times. At places it changes. Okay, so from 100 to 1000 times faster the species are getting extinct than pre-human period. Means before we were there, the 5 episodes slowly only you can find, because of some reason extinction was taking place.
not that faster, but after humans had come, it is extinction is taking place at a faster rate. That is the sixth phase of extinction. We call it as sixth extinction, and it is how much time faster? It is 100 to 1000 times faster. So hope it's clear. With this today's topic I conclude. We discussed three topics. One is species area relationship, second one is importance of species to ecosystem, and the third one was loss of biodiversity and introductory part. In the next class we will be discussing about causes of biodiversity loss. Okay, so what are the various reasons, consequences, everything we will be discussing. Hope you all had a nice day. Thank you.